Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you're with me. KJRadio.com is where you can reach us. 844-551-8255. Could not be more happy to be with you today to explain what's going on in the world, us working it out together, sometimes me playing professor and you playing student. Or, well, I have to play professor because I can't really hear you, can I? Anyway, I'm glad you guys are here. Ariana Grande sends her love to Las Vegas. Yeah, I don't know if that means anything to you, but she's a little songbird that one of her most famous things she did, she was at a bakery and she licked donuts and put them back. Yeah, so that when other patrons came in to buy them, they could eat her spit. That's Ariana Grande. She's the one who went to Paris and had her concert and people got shot up, if you remember that. The other thing that Ariana Grande is known for is she says, I hate America and I hate Americans. But she sends a shout out to Vegas. Hey, Vegas, we feel so bad for you. I feel so terrible. Really, Ariana? Do you really feel terrible for all those people who were killed by a leftist because of people like you? You think Ariana really cares? Or do you think, like all these other leftist entertainers, she's decided, you know what? I got to chime in. Hey, Ariana, you might want to go to the Tom Petty funeral. That's a place where you might find your people. Yeah, Tom Petty died. I don't have anything against Tom Petty. I don't, we all got to die. But I don't have anything against the guy. I think he was a leftist, but so what? Was he so vile that I remember things that he said or did? I don't. You may. But you know what? All these guys, they got to grow up. And the only way we're going to make these folks grow up, the Ariana Grandes of the world and the George Clooney's and all them, is we got to stand strong. She hates America. Leftists think that we're stupid. Hey, Vegas, I'm really sorry you got shot up by that lunatic leftist. Gun control. They think we forget. They think that they say things. I hate America. I hate Americans. Oh, but I'll give a shout out to Vegas. Because it's timely. It looks good on the resume. Ariana tweeted her love for Vegas. Oh, we love you too, Ariana. And then she'll get 50 million retweets and likes, and everybody from the left will be, oh, she's so amazing. She said, I hate America and I hate Americans. And I won't forget it. Vegas is America, Ariana. You sure you want to send that shout out to the people at Vegas who were killed by your leftist patron? Yeah, look, I just don't want you to forget. In the time of instant media, in the time of more information than anything, how could you possibly remain a leftist? When you see these lunatics, talked about them. We've been talking about them all week. Why? Because these lunatics are the people that go out and shoot Republicans at a baseball game. We're not talking about, not that there's any reason to be going around shooting Republicans, but we're not talking about a rally or we're talking about people just out there having fun and they go shoot people. Then we get people like the teacher who says, pray that only the Trump tards died. Yeah, that's a real healthy attitude to be teaching our kids. Educator, and I'm using my finger quotes, of course. Yeah, let's tell the kids that, hey, it's okay if we selectively kill people. Hitler. Does it remind you of anybody? Hitler? That's the way they think. We had a pizza owner, a deli owner, who said, you know what? It's a bunch of hicks over there. It's white people killing white people. What are we concerned about? Guy's name was Gordelli or something. He's an Italian. Mr. Italian, what do you think black folks are going to do? When the purge comes, do you think they're going to save you because you decided, oh, hey, I tweeted about white people being killed in Vegas. Please don't beat me up and take my wallet. And these people are crazy. They don't want to recognize the obvious. Look, I'll help you out. Black folks are committing way too much crime. It isn't because we're black. It's because of circumstances. Leftists, like this Gordelli and Ariana Grande and all these other leftists, are the reason that black folks are in the condition that they're in, which causes them to do the things that they do. And yet they continue. And you try to talk sense into them, and you know what they say? You're a racist. Yeah, whatever. I will show you racists today on the Kevin Jackson Show, folks. I promise you. I will show you leftism racists like you've never seen before. It's like this CBS lady. She doesn't care about the people killed in Las Vegas because they were country and western, country audience. Ergo, they must be conservatives. They must be Trump. What was the word? I don't know what she used, but that was her rationale. But these people want you to believe we care. Hey, black people, we care about you. We care. Seriously. As long as you remain left. But you go to the right. And then you're just like those country people. You're just like those conservatives. You're just like those Trump tards. And we will kill you all. See, they don't want to tell you that. We love you, black people. You're amazing. Vote Democrat. Black people, we love you. We love you. You're not fooling me. They want to get black folks into the kill zone, and they've got us there. And you know what they did? They were so smart about it. They got us in the kill zone, and we started killing each other. We said, bring on your Planned Parenthood and kill our babies. You can even sell the baby parts. And you know what? Don't bother sending the cops or anybody else. We'll take good care of ourselves by shooting each other. And when we do commit black on black crime, you know what we'll do? We'll do you one even better. We won't let people talk about it. Because that's going to solve the problem, right? Yeah, that'll work. Man, we got a lot to talk about. Ariana Grande sending her love. Man, woo! Did you lick some donuts and send them to Vegas too, Ariana? What other love do you have to distribute, you lefties? I'm curious. If you want to call the show Lefties and argue with me, I'd love to have you do it. 844-551-8255. Because you know what? The line never rings with you chumps. And I know why. You don't want that beat.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville. Can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Let no tragedy go to waste. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It is the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. 844-551-8255. Hillary Clinton has taken to Twitter. Hillary wants to be relevant. And you know what she did? She learned what Donald Trump did, and she said, I'm going to make sure I do exactly what Donald does. So Hillary Clinton is following the Donald Trump tweeting. And what's funny about it is it's getting her in trouble. Because she said something along the lines of, the people in Vegas started running when they heard the gunshots. What if they'd use silencers? And, Hillary Clinton knows nothing about silencers and suppressors. She thinks it's the movies where everything goes, you know how they do in the movies? It's a suppressor, but you can still hear it. Believe me. But the only suppressor I can think of that the Democrats need is duct tape to put around Hillary Clinton's mouth. This chick will not shut up. And, you know, it's funny. You get this tragedy, and I'm thinking only of the human element of this. I mean, obviously, as a smart aleck, I've got to think about all of it and how I'm going to use it against the left. But my true heart is I immediately think, what if I were in that situation? What if my kids? What if I have friends? And then, as I told you guys, it turns out I have friends of friends that were there, and everybody's, looking to make sure everybody's safe and all that. And the human element is legit. And for the record, it wouldn't matter where this occurred in the world. I would still feel identically the same about this, but not the left. They got to politicize it. Hillary Clinton, immediately, the guns. And it doesn't matter, folks, that this is a lefty who planned on doing this. If you look at who he targeted, you know he was making a statement. I tell you, I don't even know enough about this guy to say grace over, but I guarantee you he's a leftist who followed Hillary Clinton, voted for Hillary, loved Obama, and probably watched Maddow and all of them. And he did he took the gun, modified it, and did exactly this in order to bring the gun control issue back. And, oh, by the way, kill a few Trump tards, is Ann would say on Twitter, the teacher. And so immediately they want to start talking gun control. I've yet to see liberals at any time, leftists at any time, say, man, we are so fortunate we had a gun. I'm so glad somebody was carrying a gun that day that saved that person's life. Cops use guns to save lives every single day in this country. And leftists say nothing. Humans, regular civilians and humans, we're all humans. Well, not leftists. But regular civilians use guns every day in this country and save multiple lives. And they say nothing. But they wait for a tragedy like this to talk about all the angst of the world. You know what they're not talking about? Let me give you an example. They're not saying to the NFL players, hey guys, all that gridiron stuff that you have that happens in your little war that comes on at 3 p.m. or 12 p.m. Eastern time all over the country, when you guys pad up and put on your helmets and you go out on that field, and before you start your game, you take a knee. Let me tell you, whatever you do on that field doesn't compare to what just happened right in Las Vegas last Sunday. Nothing you do. You're taking a knee. All these young black guys are taking a knee for justice, right? Name me all the black people in the last decade who've been killed erroneously by cops that they believe. They've been killed erroneously by cops. And it doesn't even add up to a fraction of the people killed in one night in Las Vegas by a crazy leftist. Do you think they care? You think anybody's going to cry for Argentina by way of Vegas? No, they do not care. It doesn't even register to them. You think the NFL is going to take a knee this Sunday in support of these people? Do you think they're going to stand in prayer in support of the people that were killed? Now, 50 plus people, I don't know what it's, dozens, I know that, and the hundreds that were wounded because of a madman. And you got a business owner in Illinois, a white guy, saying, well, it's just white people killing white people, nothing to see. Oh, really? So we have to colorize it for you guys to care, huh? It's just amazing to me. Joe Biden wants gun control. Mr. Get a Shotgun demands that the White House intervene. Intervene on what? Intervene on crazy leftists? I agree. We need to get crazy leftists off the street. Where do we start, Joe? How about with the Obama administration? All those ex-Obama bots. How about Hillary Clinton? How about all these people now running around talking about, oh, guns, guns, guns? Somebody said, oh, one of the band members, they sent me a thing. One of the band members, now he's pro gun control now. He was anti-gun control for a while, but after this event, he's pro-gun control. And I said, I'll do you one better. There was a guy who was an atheist, and after this event, he found God. He was like, man, only a miracle saved me. I don't know why he did. I just saw the headline. So if we're going to be sensationalizing, how about we sensationalize that? Because let me tell you something. It doesn't matter. Well, like I said, the guy could have taken a semi and he could have run over as many people. We've seen that work. Don't talk to me about gun control. The idea of gun control is silly. I'm not even entertaining it. Well, look, we already know the dog whistle. As soon as this happened, the very first thing we said, yep, conversation will be about gun control. We already know the playbook. So why do we entertain it? Silly. Crazy leftists. When the left celebrates one shooting where the gun is the hero, I'll talk about gun control. Does it not happen, Joe Biden? Does it not happen, Hillary Clinton? Do guns not save lives? Or is it always taking lives? Is it taking lives that should be taken? Sometimes you can save your life with a gun and you don't even have to pull the trigger. They think about that? You ever seen, I grew up around guns. You guys grew up around guns? You? Yeah. So to me, it's no big deal. I don't do and play around with guns or doing that. I understand the serious nature of that weapon. Nothing to be played. No joy in it. It's got a purpose. But when you see that, you know exactly what it's for. And when it's time to whip it out, use it. Other than that, it's just a piece of your body. It just stays there. But when it's time to use it, it's time to use it. And the gun gets used more often for good, exponentially more often than good than it does for evil, but the left don't care. They have a narrative to set. And Donald Trump made a comment like, we'll look at the guns or whatever. That's just to say, leave me alone. Yeah, I'll address guns. Don't panic, folks. We're okay. I'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
You get on your knee and you don't respect the American flag or the anthem, that's not being treated with respect. This has nothing to do with race or anything else. This has to do with respect for our country and respect for our flag.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Kevin Jackson Show, Fox News contributor, best-selling author. My latest book is Race Pimping. Go get it at racepimping.com. And the reason why I played that clip, that was Donald Trump being asked by the media about, what's this thing with the NFL? Is this what do you want to do here? And he's like, this has nothing to do with that. This has to do with respect. Respect for the flag. And then he dismisses them. Talked about it the other day. I wish you could see the video if you haven't seen it. It was just like, shut up. Y'all ain't going to make this different. Make this something that it isn't. And after I cover what I'm about to cover, which has to do with Paris, I want to talk about how the NFL is what the media wants you to believe about what's really going on with this. who's really winning here, right? Is it Donald Trump? And you will, what I say to you will be unbelievable in terms of testing your sensibilities versus reality. And this is why you come here, because I challenge you to think for yourself. People ask me, Kevin, they're saying this or that. And I go, okay, well, let me ask you this. What do you see? And then people are like, well, I don't really see that. And I go, okay, then, so what you're telling me is somebody says that an object falls from the sky, and hits the ground, and then the left tells you there is no gravity. And you go, but the left is saying there's no gravity. And I go, yeah, but what did you see? Did you see the object fall from the sky? Yeah. What did it do? It hit the ground. What does that mean? It's gravity. So I'm trying to make you see the obvious. Because what the left does is what word am I looking for? Well, y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. They obscure. That's what I'm looking for. They obscure the obvious. They hide it from you. Sometimes they hide it in plain sight. They'll tell you, hey, these illegals are good for you. And you're like, really? They are? Yeah. If you bring in illegals, your economy booms. And you go, oh, well, okay. And how could you possibly believe that? And I say to you, okay, well, let's just put it down to your level. If I come to your house and I come stay, and I just come in, you come home one day from the baseball game, and the kids are like, who's that, Daddy? And you're like, I don't even know this black dude. And I'm eating your Cheetos, and making myself some salsa, and I've got my feet kicked up or whatever, and they go, what's going on? Did he ask his wife, did you leave the washing machine on? No, that was me. I'm just washing some old clothes I brought. I was smelling pretty ripe when I got here. Took a shower too. I mean, have I made you money? I mean, it doesn't even make basic sense to bring these people over. I can talk to you about refugee resettlement, and I can show you statistics that show that since we started all this dispersion of Muslims around the globe, we've increased terrorism exponentially. It's not even a question of how it's happened. I mean, the more Muslim expansion, the more terrorism. Period. The more leftism, the more school shootings, the more suicides. I could give you stats that would make you say, we need to ban leftism. It's crazy to even consider anything else. But but here's the thing. I don't want to ban leftism. You got to have a little bit of crazy. You got to know what you're dealing with. But do we have to have 50% of the nation be crazy? No. 20% of the nation that's crazy is bad enough. See, it used to be we were 80-20. Pretty much everybody was pro-American, and there were 20% of the people that found something to be mad about. Now it's 50. What do you say when it's 52, 55, 60? You're toast. So this is one of the most, it's not one of the most. This is the most critical time in the history of this country. I tell you guys all the time. You don't have to believe me, but it's true. You're in the midst of the biggest civil war. You think the Civil War was fought in the mid-1800s. The Civil War that was fought in the mid-1800s looks like playground fights comparing to what it is today. The Civil War that you're fighting today is a fight for your very existence, your way of life, the lives of your kids. We're not talking about black folks. We're talking about everybody in this country that shares your ideology. And when I tell you this, people, oh, come on, Kevin. Okay, so the lady who said that Trump people, she said, pray that only Trump-tards died. Do you believe that woman cares 1 ounce about you if she knows your politics? The other guy who said, it's just white on white crime, that's just community organizing. Really? The woman who said, it's country music folk. Who cares? I'm sorry to tell you, I don't have any sympathy for them dying. These are the people that you don't believe you're in a civil war with? The people that want to take a handful of folks that are lying about what's going on. I'm talking about these NFL kneelers. They want to take them and they want to say, these kids are bringing up the real America. That's a lie. But they want to exalt them. I want you to think about it this way. When you look at the civil rights icons of what yesteryear versus what the left will tell you is an icon today, I want you to picture Michael Brown Jr. in a picture next to Martin Luther King. Now, the left today want you to believe that those two men are equal. Does that give you an idea of how distorted and twisted they are? Does that give you an idea of the civil war that you're fighting? They want you to believe that, what's his name? Something Anthony Lamar Smith, the guy who tried to run over the cop in St. Louis. They want you to picture him next to Rosa Parks. I want you to picture him next to Rosa Parks. They want you to believe those two are equals. Yeah. And I could go on. All these people that have been killed, drug dealers, would-be cop killers, thieves, who knows what else, are the new civil rights icons, and they want you to forget your sensibilities. And they want you to say, yes, this heroin dealer who tried to run over a cop, he's the equivalent of an MLK. Or Rosa Parks, or Medgar Evers. Do I really need to explain this? So I find this incredible that we believe that when these guys come to you and say something so insane that I got to explain it. I shouldn't have. There's nothing to explain here. That's lunacy at its height. And if you're not out there explaining it this way, shame on you. When these guys want to take a knee, these NFL, you should say, we're doing memes where we put an NFLer next to a veteran who's lost his legs. And we say, you let me know which one of these guys deserves respect. We put them next to statistics about blacks being killed and versus whites being killed and say, this is what you lean for. You lean for a lie. We call it civil wrongs. It's not civil rights. These are civil wrongs. To buy into this nonsense is to buy into all these crazy ideas. Oh, look, it's truly upside down world. Barack Obama's smart, right? That's what they tell you. Then the first thing you should do is go, let me go find out just how dumb he is. Because that's what I did. There was no secret to me. Kevin, he's the smartest guy. He's amazing. Have you heard him speak? That's like hearing some dummy who's from Britain because he talks like this. You go, oh my gosh, Kevin, he's amazing. Listen to him. That accent is crazy. That's what makes him smart. Because he goes, well, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Well, what we need to do in America is we need to, bring in more refugees. Because the refugees, these people, they need a place to go. And, America need to show some compassion. And you're going, really? Okay, well, man, that was amazing. Or oral skill, or what is it? Oration skills. It was amazing. The way he said it. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. The minute the left tells you something, you should just immediately go, how do you think I do interviews? I do interviews. They go, oh, such and such. That's a lie. Immediately my mind goes, that's a lie. And then I respond back. Anyway, when we come back, I want to talk more about these NFL guys, and I want to talk about Paris. I got off track here. I apologize, but I want to talk about this because it's important. What they want projected didn't get sold.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I will admit I am tough on black folks. And I'm also tough on leftists in general, but I'm particularly tough on black people, black leftists. And rightfully so. It's, I have to be. It's called tough love. And in order to make these folks understand the game that's been being played, you gotta use all the tactics to wake them up. They don't get it. I told you guys I had a conversation with a guy who was arguing with me about my stance, and Kevin, how can you say this? And you're hurting the race and all that. And I go, how so? Please explain it to me. And he goes on to talk to me about the angst. In fact, I told you guys I was on Steve Hilton's show, the British guy that's on the weekends on Fox. And I hear that he was shocked at what I was saying, that his look was like, what? But I heard that he went to the panel discussion with a very different idea once I talked to him. And I said, because he essentially told me that there's a reason, Kevin, that you should feel oppressed as a black man in America. And I'm going, please explain it to me. Enlighten me, man from Britain who has no experience in America being black and growing up in the 60s as I do. Explain to me the angst that I should be feeling and all the things that you're seeing from your vantage point. And he's explaining, and I go, well, you happen to be wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. Everything the guy said, I'm like, well, okay, great. So you got all these things that were against us. And explain to me this. Explain to me how Oprah Winfrey is you can say Oprah, and we all know she set the standard in talk shows, right? We talk about the number of young blacks that are highly successful, doctors, lawyers, can get in. There's no limitation. There's no school we can't get into. There's no job we can't have. Back in the day, we had the menial jobs when this country was being built. Menial jobs. The jobs we had didn't even qualify for Social Security. FDR made sure of that. They don't talk about that. I asked him, I said, I would give you your argument that blacks are oppressed if you could explain to me why the blacks vote for the oppressors. Because everything that he described, the inner city blight, doesn't exist in the country. You send a black man to small town America, give him a skill set, people won't care. He'll be a successful businessman within a couple of years. You send him to the city, he will be self-segregated into a ghetto area with no hope, no car, living on wealth. I mean, I'm just telling you, it won't be the same thing because he'll get all completely different influences. People will tell him what he can accomplish and all that. Other people, when he gets outside of that bubble, he'll be successful. And let me tell you why. Here's what will happen. You've got the elites of the city. These are Democrats. In some cases, they're black Democrats. And they will see that black man trying to rise up through the ranks. And if he has nothing, they will make sure he never has anything. Because there's already people that have. So why would I worry with you? Why do I need to build you when there's somebody that already has it? I'll take your ideas and I'll go give it to my buddy, make a few points, but I'm not going to let you succeed. Why would I? I'm already there. I'm in the elite. So the power structure that's in play says, I will only let a few people in. I will hand select who's going to be it. But let's just look at the big picture of why these guys were kneeling. Because he's like, Kevin, surely you can see why these guys were kneeling. No, not at all. The statistics don't back that up. But let's say that it did. Let's play devil's advocate and say black people are being killed. You've got a Democrat machine. Well, the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, where are they being killed? Are they being killed in, population 10,000 America? Because there's blacks in all these cities. Or are they being killed in big cities? Well, we all know the crime rate in cities over 100,000 is crazy in the black community. So they're being killed in big cities. Now, name me one of these big cities that's run by Republicans. Okay, so you can't name them. Right, because it doesn't exist. So, and I told him, I said, outside of Ferguson, which by the way is a bedroom community, and it's the only city where there was a Republican mayor, Cleveland, Baltimore, Detroit, you name it, where there's all kinds of crazy amounts of violent crime, are all run by leftists. In many cases, black leftists. And I said, now, you can't find a Republican on the ticket. Why waste your time? I'm not wasting my money to run for office in a city where it's run by Democrats. Who is responsible for the police? The mayor. Who is what? A Democrat, and very well likely a black Democrat. So the very thing that these kids claim they fight against, they put into office. Now, if you want to tell me that you're oppressed and you're going to take a knee for all the people killed by cops, then I'm going to ask you, why are you voting for the people that are putting these cops on the street to kill you? It's tough it's like a drug addict, right? So a drug addict is taking a drug, and you're going, look, you're killing yourself. Man, you need to stay out of my business. But man, I had to steal from you. I had to do all these bad things. No, you don't. You're doing bad things, and you need to get off these drugs. No, man. And so they have what's called an intervention. Well, guess what? This guy, Steve Hilton, and many of these white enabling leftists, they don't want to have an intervention with black people, because the intervention would be very simple. You are voting in the very people that set the rules. So what do you want us to do? And by the way, when they set these rules, let's go back to the real issue. The real issue is you're not being oppressed. The oppression is occurring because your Democrat leaders are doing nothing for your city. They are catering to the elite. But you get nothing. You don't have jobs. You don't own businesses in your neighborhoods. You don't have safe schools. You have none of that. So you know what you do? You do what is human nature to do. You have to find an underworld, a black market, pardon the pun, in order to survive. That's why you sell drugs. That's why you prostitute. That's why you commit armed robberies and so on and so forth, chop shops and illegal DVD, illegal downloads or whatever it is, stealing movies, you name it. But it isn't because you're black. It's because of the circumstances. Yet again, Steve Hilton or any other leftist who wants to argue with me about this, who's responsible? Oh, Kevin, it's the policies. Oh, okay. So let's go back into let's go back to the big picture. Who ran this country for 8 years? Barack Obama. And he had a complicit Congress, complicit leftism, media, industrial complex, you name it. He had it all. What happened? Did less black people get killed? Was there more black employment? Did schools get safer? Did people own more homes? Did black people start more businesses? Did he have fewer fathers going to prison? Did he increase the number of black fathers staying with their kids? Name any of this. Did he stop the number of black abortions and the genocide happening in the black community? What did he do that you go, well, this is really work? So my point is this. Whether you want to go, well, Kevin, it's the bigger system that did it. You had a guy in control of the bigger system, and I'm talking about in complete control of the bigger system for almost a decade. And nothing happened. So if you want me to feel sorry for somebody, you got to tell me this person has changed their evil ways. They no longer are doing the stupid things that they were doing. They've repented. But I can't feel sorry for you if you don't repent. I can't feel sorry for you if you continue the cycle that leads to all the things you're talking about. And what are you doing? You're still taking a knee. You're taking a knee for what? You're taking a knee for being stupid? I'm sorry. I don't buy into stupid. I told you guys I'm a bigot. First class bigot. I'm a bigot against stupidity. I don't like it when people don't listen and they look at they want to blame us for their own problems. I tell you what, black folks, there's a simple solution. Stop giving your vote to the left. Give others a shot. If you let the Republicans come in, look, they're not going to be it's not going to be a gift parade, but they'll at least give you some opportunity. Give them a shot. Stop wholesale rejection of Republicans. I told people all the time, Barack Obama could have done the world a favor if he'd said one thing. Black brothers and sisters on the left, stop criticizing your brothers and sisters on the right. Their intentions are just as good as yours. You may disagree with the tactics, but their intentions are good.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. So I get a call from the Wall Street Journal. Apparently, there was a Russian news organization that took some information off of my little tiny website. I'm just so proud of my little baby. And they did a story. They took a piece of what I wrote, and we did a story about me. And the Wall Street Journal says, Kevin, do you know that the Russians are, monitoring your website? I'm like, really? First of all, I'm flat. Thank you, Vladimir. Hello, Mr. Putin. It is good to talk to you on my radio show. Glad you could be here. Vodka for everybody. Okay. So Putin or somebody in Russia is monitoring my stuff. It was something on Charlottesville. And I mentioned that it's whites, it's Democrats who are the racists that are marching in Charlottesville, and we're in the midst of a civil war. Same thing I've been saying to you guys. The Russians are monitoring me. So they said to me, did you know this? And I said, no, they've never called me for an interview or anything like that. And so then they said, well, do you care? And I said, of course not. I don't care. And so the girl, she was a good interview. She's like, Kevin, good talking to you, because it seems like from everything that I've read about you that you're just about the truth. You may have a political leaning, but you seem to be just, she says, I don't get any ideas that you're sensationalizing. This is really how you feel. I said, wow, what? I said, you are so right. That is exactly what I'm about. And so she said to me, and so she was telling me, did I mind about the Russians? And I said, let me tell you a story. And I think I've told you guys this story. Share with you something. When I first started writing, I was probably 2-3 years into writing what was then called a blog. And people were getting popular, and I'm doing exactly what I do today, just more eloquently today now, but I was doing exactly the same stuff. So I'm hammering the left, and I get this guy, I want to say his name was Jay. And man, he was one of the wittiest commenters on my site. I swear, this guy, I would go back to read my articles to read Jay's ripping people left and right, ripping these leftists that were coming into the site, almost like he was my alter ego, just blasting these guys. It wasn't an alter ego because he was right there with me. We were ideologically linked. And so he's blasting these leftists. And this went on for better part of a year. I mean, we would write each other like on through the comments. I'd go like, Jay, dude, you blasted that dude. He's like, yeah, got him, didn't I? So we never connected otherwise, but that was how we would do. So this went on about a year. And I Mutual Admiration Society, a guy say something like, "Oh, Kev, dude, bang," So anyway, a black dude writes to me one day and says, "Yeah, man, you all buddy with some, Aryan Nation dude." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You don't even know. This guy, Jay, is a member of Stormfront and blah, blah, blah." I was like, "What?" So I go over to the website and I find this guy, Jay, Stormfront. I find Jay. So they're probably like, "This black dude's over looking at Stormfront. We're converting him." So I go look and I find Jay, and Jay is taking some of the things that I say. And then when he gets on Stormfront, he's not speaking to me with respect. He's calling me the N-word, but he's saying, "Y'all aren't going to believe this dude." I'm going to use dude for the N-word. But y'all aren't going to believe this dude. Man, he's over there ripping these guys to shreds. Y'all got to check this dude, this whatever. So I was like kind of taken aback for just a minute, but I didn't say anything. Jay still commented. I just pretended. I did. I'm not going to say I didn't do anything. Here's what I did. I remember writing in a comment somewhere, "Yeah, I hear that there are Aryan Nation people that may be coming to my site thinking that, I'm like, whatever." I think, what was the guy that Dave Chappelle did? Anyway, the black dude that ran the Klan. And I go, "Look, I think anybody that believes that one race is better than another is nothing but a bunch of knuckle-dragging Neanderthals who can kiss my black behind, blah, blah, blah." So I wrote this scathing thing that was really pointed at Jay, but I didn't make it to Jay. So he kept commenting, on pages, but I know he read it. Fast forward 2 years. 2 years, I get an email. And here's essentially what it said. "Kevin, I'm Jay from the website, and I need to tell you something. I'm a member of Stormfront or whatever, this Aryan Nation, white nationalist, whatever, and I've been following your work for a long time, and you and I have had good, very eloquently written, good, repartee, etc. But I just felt like I needed to tell you what's going on." And says, "But I want to say this, man, and this I promise you it was written, very well written, but written to me like a letter from a war buddy." And he says, "Man, you've really made an impact on me. The level of consistency you have in delivering your message and the way in which you do it is impressive." He lavished praise on me. And then he said this, which was the most important part. He says, "Man, I just want to let you know, you changed the way I view blacks." He says, I will no longer harbor those feelings that I had, and you are responsible for that. And I just wanted you to know that you've made an impact on me." And I told her this story, and she was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "I'm absolutely serious. God is my witness. That happened." So when you tell me, "Oh, the Russians are reading your stuff," the Russians may be reading my stuff. They're reading my stuff because I speak the truth. And then I asked her this. I said, "Are you worried?" I said, "I'm just curious if the Wall Street Journal or anybody else is worried about any other country that's looking into the United States' politics." Because last time I checked, every country is looking into the United States politics. Every country is writing something to, quote, influence American politics in some way, form, or fashion. They're monitoring us. Do you think America gives a rat's behind of what's going on in Sweden, what's going on in Canada, what's going on in Yugoslavia? You couldn't even ask the average American to name you the president or the prime minister of practically any of these countries, and you'd have to shoot them. So we don't care. But I said every country cares about our politics because that's how important we are. So why is it that Russia is the one we single out? Are they the only bad guy in the world? Who else could we single out? Do we care if China is in? China's having more influence over our politics than Russia could ever shake a stick at, and nobody says a word about it. What are you talking about? And she goes, "You're right. You're right about all this." So anyway, when the article comes out, I will make sure that we get a copy, get it distributed. Lots to talk about. Back in a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, y'all? We back. I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad you're back, because it means we're still breathing air. We're still above terra firma, fighting the good fight. This civil war that's brewing. Emancipation, too. This time even the white folks get free. That's what I said years ago. And people thought I was kidding. I'm not kidding. You've been enslaved. You've been slaved, too. I got a couple of slaves. One of you boys go get me some water, please. No, seriously, I need some water, man. My throat's messed up. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Anyway, look, it's funny how there's no clamoring for gun control when the refugee from Sudan or Somalia or wherever this guy was from who shot up the Tennessee church members, the white Tennessee church. Yes. Don't get me to preaching. Have you heard of Robert Caleb Engel? Probably not, but he's a 22-year-old man. He was an usher at this church in Tennessee. He gets hit in the face by the gun when this gunman comes into the church. Bam, the guy hits him. He gets knocked down, whatever. Dude's shooting people, whatever, going on. And Robert Caleb Engel goes out to his car, grabs his own firearm, and then takes care of business with this guy. Kills him. Yeah. Now, one person died in this church. I think 6 were wounded. There were 40-something parishioners in the church. But it was the quick thinking of Robert Caleb Engel who saved additional lives. Could have been 40-something people dead. But you don't hear about that. And you're not going to hear the left tell you about it. I said it earlier. It's sad to watch the politicizing of things that are tragedies. See, here's the thing. Robert Caleb Engel shot this Somali, Sudanese guy, whatever he is. I think he's from Sudan. But he killed him. And there's no politics in this for me. He averted a deeper tragedy. And he helped many families get their loved ones home safely because he had a firearm. And you know, people that have firearms say a very simple thing. I don't carry this to menace you. I carry this so you don't get to menace me. And then, of course, the funny people say I carry a gun because I can't carry a cop. Why are we shouldn't even be having a gun control discussion. at all. Shouldn't even be in our lexicon. After these types of tragedies that happened in Vegas, it's not about guns. It's about crazy people. And if we got leftists that will study things to the hilt, right? They will study the mating habit of the dung beetle, the South American dung beetle. They will go we don't care about all dung beetles, just the South American dung beetle. They will study everything, but they will not study what leads to the craziness of leftism. They won't study that. Why do people, you ever seen a study like, why is it that leftists tend to be more mass murderers? Why is it that Democrats tend to be more prone to criminal activity? Things like this. Study it. There's all kinds of stuff. Look at academics and see if they study anything about themselves. The leftist ideology, whatever. You'd be hard pressed to find it. There's no money in it. That's the reason why. They will study you. The Trump voter. I'm a fellow at the Dole Institute, but I haven't studied, like the mind of the Trump voter. I bet you money there is millions of dollars available. There are millions of dollars available for anybody that wants to study the Trump people, the craziness of it. And they will get, the premise of that study will be, we'd like to offer grants to people that will write about how deranged has America become that they would allow for the election of Donald Trump. That would be what they call it, like the thesis. It'll be stuff like that. I don't follow this stuff. I'm not involved in it in any way, shape, or form. But I promise you, you can bet there's money to be spent on this. And they're going to try to sneak it in while some of these government bureaucrats are still Barack Obama holdovers. Because Trump's going to look at this stuff and go, we ain't studying that. We're not paying for that. No more. Government is no longer going to be your little piggy bank for all these stupid projects. Yeah. Anyway, you trust me when I tell you, folks, the war is brewing. And you can approach this as like, hey, I'm going to go up and talk to my chap and see if we can, go have, tea and crumpets together and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. He's going to come with a gun and just shoot you right in the head. He's not going to want to have tea and crumpets. The left already is telling you they want you gone. They want us all gone. Look, again, we can compare and contrast till we're blue in the face on every situation. Compare and contrast the handling of this church shooting where a African guy, I think he's either, because I've seen both stories where he's from the Sudan, but he's also from Somalia. And I think it's one by way of the other. But he's either Sudanese or Somali. And he came over as a refugee to the United States, got a firearm, probably illegally, targeted a white church because he is a Muslim, and he killed white folks. And you can't find article about, to hear this discussed, it's ridiculous. And it's got all the elements. It's got a refugee from Africa who's a Muslim, should be grateful he's in America. He comes here, and what's he do? He wages jihad on Christians, intentionally killing white folks. If you switch that up and change the colors, holy cow. Some white dude coming from Canada who's a Christian goes into a mosque, kills a bunch of black, whatever they are, Islamic worshipers, and yells, Jesus Christ is Lord. Whatever. Flip it any way you want. You could flip it halfway through and people would be completely losing their minds on the left. But you can't even hear the story. Dylan Roof, and I've talked about this. I'm not trying to rehash it, but I want to just drive the point home. Dylan Roof goes in. They went and scoured the internet to find this dude with a Confederate flag so they could blame it on Southern heritage and hateful. Look, this is a hateful dude. I'm not going to lie about it. Dylan Roof is not a hero to me or anything. I'm not going to protect him. But to make it about the Southern flag and imply that all these people are racist, this is one crazed guy. He's not connected to some, other thing. I don't know if this guy who killed these white folks in Tennessee was, but I do know this. If you're going to make a big hoopla over one, make a big hoopla over the other. How about we just do it fair? Equal time. There's no equal time here. And that's what's so sad about this. The left don't care about equal time because it doesn't suit their narrative. There is no money in this guy killing people because they're making money on the refugee resettlement programs and the training and all the things that go into it. This is all a government bureaucratic boondoggle, and we fall for it.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Lots to talk about, but I want to play this clip of a guy who's out interviewing people at an Antifa rally. It's absolutely hysterical. If you don't get a kick out of this, you don't have a funny bone in your body. And he's not even trying to be funny. He starts out by asking about misogyny. So anyway, let's play the clip and we'll dissect it a bit. And then we may be able to cover one other thing before we get through this segment.
Well, they're pro-misogyny.
In what way, though? How do they? Which way do they do that?
By being pro-misogynist and by espousing pro-misogynist rhetoric.
How much of his base do you think is the KKK?
A large amount.
I'm sure you find a lot of swastika tattoos.
Have you seen any of the Nazi KKK people today?
Yeah.
Who's the guy? Which is the guy?
Which guy?
The guy that we're...
Okay, I don't know you.
Okay, but just tell me who...
I know you. Don't talk to me.
All right, that's one way to live. Why are they chanting Nazi scum off our streets at you? Are you a Nazi?
No, I'm not.
This is weird. It doesn't make any sense then.
Indian, yeah. Dude, just today they called me a white supremacist. Every white supremacist in the country supports Donald Trump.
Every Black Panther supported Obama.
And I would argue that the Black Panthers are way better than the KKK or any white supremacist.
The same thing on the other side. It's just identity politics using violence.
Making the argument that you're Indian doesn't necessarily make you not a Nazi.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I find these guys really kind of hilarious, except that it just goes to show you how idiotic they can be. And they don't really even know what they're protesting. That's what I think I find most disconcerting. Is, look, I know what I stand for. If I'm going to get off my butt and go protest, it's going to be for the right reason. I'm going to know the cause and what it's all about. When I went out to the hundreds of Tea Party events that I, attended or either spoke at or whatever, and of course, if I'm speaking there, I certainly know what I'm doing. But when I first went, if I was in town and just went to one, I knew where I was going. It wasn't like it was, well, I'm not sure what they're going to be talking about today. The Tea Party always stood for the same thing, and it was camaraderie to go out and see people of like mind. And occasionally we would have people try to shout us down. And I remember one it was in St. Louis, out in St. Charles, and there were a group of anti-Tea Party people standing in the middle, and they were trying to shout, and people were going up to them, giving them water, giving them stuff, and and occasionally they would, I had the microphone, I was the keynote speaker. I had the microphone and other people as well. And you couldn't hear them. And they finally left and it was no big deal. But we treated them with respect. Come out, whatever. I can't imagine they left there and went, man, those are evil people. It just didn't happen. But these people, they don't even know what they're mad about. You ask them, well, what is misogyny? Well, they're just misogynists. Really? Well, do you really know what that means? It's like talking to a kid. You know what I got to tell you about my little boy, this 10-year-old, he's about to be 11, but this kid, I'll be talking and I'll use a word. Like I'll say, well, they're secular. And he'll go, yeah. And he'll go, hey, Dad, what does secular mean? And I explain it. And then I know he's a sponge, so he gets it, and he probably uses it at school the next day 20,000 times. But he will stop in his tracks and go, well, what does that mean? When I say he's a misogynist, Dad, what's a misogynist? That's a person who is disrespectful and demeaning to women, etc. Oh, okay. So when he hears it, he knows what it's about, and he'll use it probably again to his little buddies or something. If they say something to like, she's ugly, he go, what are you, a misogynist? Just to, impress his. But I was identically the same way. I had a thirst for vocabulary because I didn't want people to get over on me with language. And I'm not telling you I have the most extensive vocabulary out there, but it's pretty good. And so knowing something is a good thing because at least you can, he's misogynist. Well, how so? Well, because if I tell you Donald Trump is a misogynist, I'm going to tell you, yeah, he dated a woman, and it was clear from all the indications that he had no intention of being with her. He used that relationship to better his position with her father. It's, and which, by the way, wouldn't make him a misogynist. It might make him a piece of crap, a stair stepper. But all I'm saying is I would have information to back it up. These guys, go talk to these folks. I've been in rallies and talked to them. They don't know what they're talking about. And you say to yourself, you really got out of bed to do this and you don't care that you're an idiot? You don't care. What are you here for? Oh, man, they just told me to come. Well, who told you to come? What's your beef? Oh, they just told me be loud and shout people down. That's it. Now, if the guy I'm thinking about when I had this conversation, he's getting a paycheck, so he's going to do what he's told, but he has no clue. He doesn't even know if what he's being paid to shout down is going to cost him more in the long run, which of course it is, because it's a leftist that's paying him to shout people down and to do bad things. So yeah, it's not going to end up well for him, and it's not going to be good for us. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about. I told you I wanted to cover quite a few things, and here's this has been kind of a burning question for me for a while, maybe over the past couple of weeks. When did Jimmy Kimmel become relevant? I mean, I hear about Jimmy Kimmel's son. He's got some kind of a heart condition. Jimmy Kimmel can pay to have his son looked at by the best doctors. He doesn't need Obamacare. And, I understand if he's trying to say, look, I'm able to do this and other people are not. And, I feel for the common man and all that. I get it. Okay, fine, Jimmy. You got a heart. We understand it. But do you believe that the rest of America should suffer? Should Kevin Jackson and his family pay $30,000 more for lesser insurance coverage because of the possibility that a kid that can't afford it, like your son's dad and mom, would have to get some kind of an operation that Obamacare you believe would cover, that I personally believe wouldn't cover, except to maybe say, look at the lucky lotto winner that we're going to cover. It would be like Hunger Games. You take all the kids with heart problems and say, only one of you is going to survive. Are you kidding me? You think the government is going to cover everybody's malady and millions of dollars? That's ridiculous. But Jimmy Kimmel, something happens with this kid, and he goes from being comedian, from being a funny man, to being political hack, because he might be a funny comedian. I used to think he was funny, but he's a political hack. He wants to take his one anecdote, my little boy and his problem, and pretend that he knows all about the system. I'm not saying he's not a bright guy, not saying he didn't research it. But what I'm telling you is, whatever amount of time he's doing with that, unless he wants that to be his career, he didn't research it as much as we did. I don't stand up in front of people in the middle of the afternoon or in the evening and make people laugh. Not anymore, anyway. I do this. But Jimmy Kimmel wants you to believe that in his sideline, when he's not prepping for his multi-million-dollar a year gig, he spends his time studying Obamacare and the healthcare system, and he knows best for you. Sorry, Jimmel, you're not Jimmel. I'll just call him Jimmel. Everybody will know. Yeah. So speaking of Jimmel, I don't trust. Why would I trust him any more than I trust any of these other leftists? But somebody remind me of when he became relevant. Did I miss a meeting of Comedians Anonymous or something? Because this guy is a funny man who's going through a situation with his son that I don't wish on any dad. But Jimmy, your situation with your son doesn't mean the world or certainly America, has to pay attention to it, because it isn't the way the world works. It's funny to me, and I've had many revelations like this. 2 I can remember. I'm not going to go back through them, but where I remember going, dude, everybody doesn't think like you. Just chill. Now, when I said that, it was in reference to just life in general. And I'm a studied person in most of the things that I talk about on the radio. When I'm not, I tell you. And I've studied Obamacare quite extensively. And what I can tell you is it's not doing the nation the good that it's being sold that it's doing. It's not doing that. And we need to be able to have an honest discussion about it, without somebody like Jimmy Kimmel trying to sensationalize it. Oh, this is awful, and Obamacare, and we need to keep it, and look at Donald Trump. He's and I don't know all the details around what he said, but I know it was anti-Trump, anti what Trump's. And I think to myself, Jimmy, I honestly want me to believe, let's just boil it down to this. Jimmy Kimmel wants the nation and the world to believe that he trusts the judgment of a failed community organizer and probably the worst president in American history, a guy who will not provide detail around the so-called intellect that he has, over a Wharton grad who took $1 million loan and made it into whatever number of billions Trump has, and became president of the United States against all odds. Nobody believed that Barack Obama would not become president. Once he got in, they were like, oh, shoot, it's a shoo-in. With Trump, we were told he couldn't make it. But Jimmy Kimmel trusts Barack Obama more than he trusts Trump.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. So I don't know if you guys are going to be, if you're in Florida and you're going to, I don't know how they do an invitation to this or if you get to go, but the David Horowitz Freedom Center or whatever, I was invited to speak there, and I will be there November. I think it's the second weekend in November, like the 11th, 12th, something like that. So if you happen to know of that event or whatever, please put it on your calendar. If you want to hang out with me, I will be there that weekend. And looking forward to that. It was funny. I talked to those guys, and it was years ago I said to myself, David Horowitz and I do a lot of the same stuff, and I wonder why I've never been asked to speak there. And so I get a call from him. And they said, hey, Kevin, we want you to speak at the event. So I talked to Michael, and he says, yeah, Kevin. He goes, David said to me, we got to get Kevin Jackson here. And I was like, are you kidding? I was, because I've had this conversation with three or four times. And he says, yeah. And he goes, and Kevin, I got to tell you, we have people every year that go, you got to get Kevin Jackson here to speak. I was flattered. How cool is that? I'm working on an event in Oregon. I don't know the name of it. It's with the station KYKN. What's up, y'all? And the radio station's working with this Republican group, and it's a big event for these guys, and I'm honored to be asked to go. I think Tucker did the event last year, and they're working out the details on that. So if that comes to fruition, I'll be back up in the Oregon area. That's sometime in March, but I'll be up in I'll be speaking at the Horowitz event in November. Now, I'm only going from memory on those because those are the ones that I remember, but I have a bunch more that are on the books, and I just honestly don't remember the dates, or else I'd be taking you through them, and we'll get to it at some point. But I just want to let you know I am pretty busy these days, and being honest with you, with everything that's going on with Fox, it's tying up a lot of my time. But it's all good news because it means that the word is getting out about what we are doing. And I promise you, it doesn't matter whether I speak in Oregon or I speak at the Horowitz Foundation or whatever they call it, or the 50 other places where I'm probably on the books to speak. It's the same message. And I'm just happy to be able to report this stuff to you guys, that good things are going our way. I am truly blessed, and it is because of you, and I do this for you. Now, all that being said, let me go back to beating up on leftists, if that's okay with you. Yeah, because that's what we do here. And it isn't because we're mean-spirited. It isn't because we're bullies. It's because it's quite the opposite. They are bullies and have been bullying us. And they need tough love. Now, I wonder, and I've wondered this a couple of times, I've said it on the TV and a few times, but I wonder if the pampered blacks in the NFL will take a knee for all the white folks who were killed on Sunday in Las Vegas. Because while these guys were playing a sport, well, actually it was technically after because it was early Monday morning, but these people in Las Vegas were being gunned down at a concert. Now, this is a game versus ordinary Americans gathered for fun in Las Vegas, where dozens lose their lives at the hands of a madman. Now, during this massacre, law enforcement and ex-military people were saving lives. Now, I want to juxtapose that to this. Only a few days earlier, we watched Michael Bennett cowering inside a Las Vegas casino, finally running out the door to avoid an apparent gunman in the casino. And, of course, the cops, get him to think that he might be the guy. Now, we have all the misunderstanding that he creates with the brouhaha. But what Michael Bennett isn't telling you is this. He was fearful for his life. He was running. This is a dude who'll take a knee to support the black cause, but don't tell him to take a bullet for you. You get where I'm going? Yeah, I think you do. Big old NFL guy talking about all the misjustice of care. Justice ain't in America for people. He's not willing to go find the guy who's shooting in that casino to take him down. Now, that's for the police, man. That ain't my job. Yeah, and you know what else isn't Michael Bennett's job? Or any of the guys that took a knee during the NFL? Chasing those bad guys in the hood. That ain't their job. My job is to go make multiple millions of dollars. Stand in front of my Maybach in my $5,000 threads, in front of my $500,000 car, in front of my $5 million home, and complain about America. Yeah. People are crazy Negroes. Cowering. NFL played twice in London. Ambassadors of the sport. Ambassadors of America. And on both occasions, some black players decided to protest America yet again because it ain't enough, man. It ain't enough that I can get the hottest girls. I can get invited to the most cool venues. I got people wanting my autograph. And I think I described their lifestyle earlier as they sit in their $5,000 worth of clothes in front of their $500,000 cars, in front of their $5 million plus homes. They want to talk about oppression. They want to sell that idea. They wanted the world to know that while America will make young black men into multimillionaires with trophy-wise mansions, fast cars, and all the creature comforts that man could possibly want, the country remains the oppressive Jim Crow environment of the 1960s. Man, to walk in their shoes if you walked in their shoes for 15 seconds, you would kill yourself when you came out of them. You'd be like, shoot, My life sucks. You'd be done. Yeah. Oh, man. Thankfully, neither London nor the world buys it, though, folks. They know it. They're on to them. Yeah. For a brief bit of time, the world focused on the terror of a deranged lunatic. Because the world knows a real tragedy when they see one. Not the ginned up version of the NFL's elites. The guys who run from gunfire, unless they're the ones dishing it out. Yeah. See, what Paris did impressed me. Paris, France, turned off the Eiffel Tower at midnight, Paris time, in order to honor the people killed in Las Vegas and the people killed in Marseille. Now, people don't realize that there was a Muslim terror attack in Marseille, France. While this last week occurred, I didn't look at the numbers, but I can guarantee you there were at least 3 Muslim terror attacks in the world. At least, probably as many as 10. Probably more. I'm not going to look it up. It doesn't matter to me. I just know this. I know Islam is terror. I know leftism is terror. I know leftism promotes all of the things that are happening bad in the world. If leftists stop for 1 second and just analyze it, they'd say, you know what? You're right, Kevin. You're right. We are the cause. I'm not here to point fingers. It would be nice if we could have a dialogue and finger pointing would be unnecessary. We would just say, well, let's look at it this way. You look at it that way. And we could come to some compromise over what I hope leftists truly want, which is a safer country and a safer world. They claim to want this. Do you believe them? I don't believe them anymore. I've seen too much evidence of leftists fomenting hate. Antifa right now are saying things, essentially daring the government to come after them. They're saying there will be no peace. In fact, when this Vegas thing happened, people wondered, is this an Antifa event? What we're not being told, and I saw this story, I haven't confirmed it, you can look it up for yourselves, but I heard that this guy had Antifa stuff all throughout his room in the Mandalay Bay. I don't know if that's true. But I know this, the Antifa anarchists are saying to heck with government. They're bringing weapons to rallies to fight. And one of these days, they're going to get their fight. They're going to get their fight. They cover their faces. And here's what I say to Antifa. I say this. You're going to run into people like me who are ready to protect themselves. And it's not going to go well for you. And maybe that's what they want. Maybe that's what they want to draw attention to. But I'm looking at all these things that are going on, the craziness of this world, where it makes no sense whatsoever. And I ask you, as Americans, how long do you want it to go on? Because people ask me, Kevin, what can we do? What can we do? What you can do is you must understand it in order to fight it.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. Imagine what we would be talking about if Obama were president. The Puerto Rican mayor wouldn't be complaining about the services that she's getting from the federal government. And we went through a litany of the things that Donald Trump and FEMA initiated initially in order to save lives. And the president came out and said, look, we couldn't get ships to dock. You had truckers that didn't show up to work, Teamsters who refused to drive, not that they could because the roads were jacked up. Many of them couldn't get to people. Trump said, look, you got to also help yourselves. People look, oh, he's telling them they got to help. What are you talking about? When there were tornadoes that ravaged the Midwest and the South. Joe the plumber and I went on a tour. It was back in 2011. And if it weren't for people coming out with chainsaws and all that, I'm glad FEMA was there. I'm glad, we have an emergency management agency. The problem is they couldn't get to everybody fast enough. The beauty of America is relying on your fellow man. God knows the world is certainly understood that. It's one thing for the government to help, which, by the way, it's our money. That's an organized help. The one where people go, oh, this earthquake happened in Haiti, let's do a GoFundMe, let's do this or that. That's the people springing to action before government can even think about what it wants to do. But holy cow, if Obama were president, that Puerto Rican lady would be kissing his behind, and you all know it. She wouldn't have taken this rabbit stance. If Obama were president, that lady, that librarian who rejected Melania Trump's Dr. Seuss offer, would be singing the praises of Michelle Obama. If Obama were president in Vegas had happened, we'd be talking about nothing but gun control. There wouldn't be, the discussion around, the who died and all. The left would shift gears. It would strictly be gun control. They'd be praising his response, talking about he gave an amazing speech and he did this and Las Vegas is in safe hands, and I could go on. Name me anything Donald Trump has done. Let put Barack Obama on it, and you'd watch the media spin 180 degrees so fast you wouldn't even know how to. You'd be like, were they going that direction? I could have sworn they were going that direction. Nope. What are you talking about? Nope. Always going this direction. It would be uncanny if Donald Trump weren't president and Barack Obama was. And for the record, if you believe if you believe as I do, if the unemployment rate were dipping down to 4.3%, if our trade deficit had dropped the most that it had prior to the election, if the GDP, I don't know if you guys saw this report, our GDP used to be something like $14.5 trillion. That meaning the productivity of America that's how much money we generated. Now, that's an older number. It could have gone up to 17 trillion, whatever, but it's the annualized amount of money if everybody's working and we're at full capacity. That number is almost $20 trillion now. It's over 19 trillion. In the short amount of time Trump's come into office, we've added trillions to our GDP, to our productivity. You hear anybody talking about this? I talked about the economic impact of Donald Trump since. I talked about the stock market. 18,250 when Donald Trump took over, 22,600 the other day, and climbing. Don't be shocked if the stock market ends up 23,000 before the end of the year. Don't be shocked at all. Don't be shocked if the stock market is at 30,000 by the time Trump leaves office in his second term. What else do you want me to tell you? Now, if anything close to this was happening and it was Barack Obama, not only would the left be singing his praises, so would I. And probably so would you. Are you looking forward to the day when Donald Trump gets his tax policy in and corporations start bringing money back to America and we start looking for innovative ways to put people back to work? I look forward to this. American people are very productive, and we will adjust to the new world. Let me put it to you this way. They say the world is changing, all this automation. The world's been changing since the beginning of time. All this automation. So what they're telling us is this. At some point, if you're flipping burgers, they're going to automate that, and you're not going to be able to do it. But you know what you might do? You might flip specialty burgers. Think about the number of specialty burger places there are now. We love Shake Shack. Okay? But there's In-N-Out, Shake Shack, Bob's Burgers. I could probably name you 5 burger franchises that are not McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's, the big boys, but they're little guys making a specialty burger. A Shake Shack is amazing. If you're in New York, in Manhattan at some time, go there. They got them. They're now opening them all over the country. But well, I shouldn't say that. But I know they're in multiple locations. But go to Shake Shack and get a burger. It's amazing. Culver's. I love Culver's. I'm giving commercials out. I need to be looking for endorsements here. But my point to all of this is that ingenuity will find its way, because that's what America does. And what Donald Trump is doing is he's inspiring you to do that. These 3D printers, I don't know what's going to come out of them, but I bet you there's going to be a boom in people making their own specialty products. You're going to be forced to find your talent in the new world. And that's good, because in America, there's lots of talented people. I can't wait to see what happens. I don't fear what's about to happen. I encourage it. I want to see what we do. Anyway, we got a ton to talk about. I want to talk about a professor that made what I think is one of the silliest comments. We touched on it the other day, but I want to cover it fully today. And I also want to talk about a Democrat who showcased the Democrats' true feelings towards blacks, but it was black against Hispanics. So we'll talk about that today. And also a professor who got himself arrested. You know what? The next segment I'm going to talk about these Russian cannibals. I've been dying to talk about this couple. I don't know if you guys heard about them. Keep it here, folks. You're listening to Kevin Jackson.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. It's a crazy story. Russian cannibal couple. You heard about these guys? I didn't do any research on it. I saw the headline, and I was like, what? And you'll see they got a picture of them side by side. Russian cannibal couple. And the title said, killed and ate 30 people. Killed and ate 30 people? That's one way to cut down on the grocery bill, I'll tell you what. Holy little shop of horrors. Mother of Jeffrey Dahmer? Seriously? Come on now, Russ. And they're following my page. And I mentioned this last hour. The Russians are following my work. I'm not sure if I should be flattered or if they invite me over for a meal. I may have to turn Vladimir down. Vlad, please. Killing and eating people. Wow. Who does this? Even if they told me humans were delicious, I just couldn't do it. Could you? Could you do it? Look, in a survival circumstance like that, was it the plane that crashed in the Andes and then these guys eventually ended up having to eat their friends. I understand something like that where it's like, look, eat this or die. And it would be tough, but you get hungry enough. I've seen guys, man, woo, they eat, stuff that, like that song, like Fear Factor. Worms and stuff. And what's funny about it is they'll tell you, like the Aborigines eat these, they go into these trees, dead trees, like where these things burrow in and they get these grubs and they eat them and they say it tastes like peanuts or whatever. And I go, I'll just eat peanuts. Yeah. I don't want anything. I don't want to eat your guts. You know what I mean? Because they just roast them and you eat them like a delicacy, like a piece of candy. No, not me. I don't want the worm at the bottom of the tequila bottle. No, no. You have it. You have it. Yes, you. I don't even like the drink. It's mezcal. It's not tequila. It's mezcal. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for correcting me on air. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go have some mezcal. You can have the worm. Oh, no, I don't. I give these guys grief. They're good guys. My producers are amazing. Man, eating 30 people. Who does that? I bet you the body count's even higher than that. That's just what they know. That's what they're willing to admit to. Here's a place where this Russian couple could do some good. Yeah, maybe save the city some money burying folks like Chicago. You know what I'm saying? 32 people were shot last weekend during the NFL. 32 people were shot and a man killed along the Chicago River on the north side. And a 13-year-old boy was wounded while riding his bike in Little Village on the west side. That was according to police. Between Friday and early Monday, at least 4 people were killed, 28 others wounded. What's funny when you look at the Chicago killings or shootings? If you look, there'll be 3 different panels that'll show up if you do like a Google search. And they'll say things like 4 people killed, 28 wounded. Then the next panel will say 4 people presumed to be dead, around 28 wounded. They don't get it right. There'll be 3 different panels with 3 different statistics. That's how bad it is. They cannot keep up. They're just guessing. But anyway, this one report, I think this one was a Chicago Trib. The man killed along the Chicago River was found around 12:15 a.m. Sunday on a sidewalk, and it tells you the location. The boy, that's the 13-year-old boy, was shot in the arm at about 2:40 p.m. Saturday in the 2500 block of South St. Louis Avenue when a gunman got out of his light-colored vehicle and fired, police said. He was taken by ambulance to the Stronger Hospital where he was listed in good condition. 2,877, a number of people shot in Chicago this year, down about 400 from last year. There have been at least 525 homicides. I love that. At least. We don't know the exact count just yet. 50 fewer than this time last year when gun violence hit levels not seen in 2 decades. It's still outrageously high. Chicago will probably hit comfortably 600 to 650 murders this year. And you'd be hard pressed to find any of the athletes that would even say a word about it. They wouldn't even know who was shot, who was killed. 13-year-old boy. They don't release his name because he's 13, but it doesn't matter. 13-year-old kid shot. Guy gets out of his car to shoot him. Now, here's what's interesting about that story. So there are people, especially you white folks, y'all listen to the story going, I can't believe it. a guy would get out of his car and shoot at a 13-year-old boy riding his bike. Oh, that's just awful. And I know, I get it. Y'all are like, this is a child. And let me tell you what this 13-year-old did. He's probably dealing dope. That was a rival dope dealer who rolled up on him and tried to kill him. And the 13-year-old boy, it wasn't like he's some 13-year-old boy. He's coming home from school, gonna go do his homework and watch, Johnny Danger or whatever the show is called, and Henry Danger. He's a kid who's involved in something. This was not, it's a gang initiation and you got to go kill a kid on a bike. This was a kid that if you saw this kid, he probably would scare the crap out of you. It would be brown underwear. He's packing. Probably got a gun. Yeah. But I get it. You see these stories. If you don't know what to look for, you're like, oh my gosh, Kevin, the violence in Chicago. Yeah, you're right. It's bad. It is bad. But, my kid he's about to turn 11. My youngest is about to turn 11. And this kid is in no way streetwise, but he is light years ahead of me when I was 11 years old. Holy cow. It is, and we got him out of the hood so he could grow up and know that you can actually ride your bike in the streets, in the suburbs without getting shot at. You can take he's got one of these little scooters, that you move with your leg. It's like a skateboard with a handle on it, Anyway, he's got a scooter and he and his buddies drive, they go around. We'll let him go a couple of blocks over to the park without panicking because it's so safe, right? But in St. Louis, there's no way I'd let this kid out. Shoot, this kid would be making more money than me within 2 weeks dealing drugs and having me, I'd be a drug runner for him within a month. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be running drugs. It would take longer than a month. As a kid. I'm just joking. These are the jokes. Man. But yeah, the murder rate, and the thing about me is the blatant disregard of it. They don't care. Leftists don't care about this. More to come. Keep it here, folks.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So, this Democrat went off on protesters, black protesters. Honestly, I don't know where this happened. I'm thinking, did it happen like in the Valley? Was it in Houston? It was obviously where there's a big Hispanic population. And here's what I can tell you about the blacks and the Hispanics, and this is what makes immigration so interesting to me, is that black folks on the ground, the non-elite blacks, the non-leader blacks, they don't like the idea of these illegals coming to town, coming in. They don't like it at all. They get it. But the leadership is trying to force this battle. Jerry Hudson of the SEIU, he's a senior VP, black dude, he called it a battle royale between the blacks and the Hispanics. But he says, you can talk blacks into allowing for illegal immigration because, we can play on their fears in some other areas. We'll tell them, if you don't let this happen, these white boys are going to continue to leave. Oh, we can't let the white boys do it. And that's what they've done. But there's a real beef between blacks and Hispanics in terms of illegal versus legal. And most of it, believe it or not, especially on the West Coast, has to do with drug gangs. Because the ordinary folks, black folks don't care that they're Hispanics in America or in any way, shape, or form. They care, like everybody else, that what happens is when they bring these illegals over and they can't read, they don't know English, can't speak it, can't read it, etc., it gives them not a leg up, but they become a burden on society, and that burden manifests itself more in black communities than it does elsewhere. They're smart enough to realize that, but do they do anything about it? No. They still support the same people that give them that craziness. But what I love is when the truth comes out about what these people really believe about each other. What blacks think about black leftists think about Latinos, and what Latinos think about black leftists. And I'm speaking in this case specifically about Mexicans. Because there's a big brouhaha now, and I want to play the clip of this Mexican dude who's mad about black people coming to protest and what they're saying about Mexicans. We've bleeped out the language, and we had to bleep out a lot of it, but I'll try to tell you what he's talking about, and I'll do it as it goes along.
Now that we see, I really don't understand that. Never liked them. I choose now they're I don't know where Luisa is getting them from. They're coming down to my city, and they're now trying to put everybody in jail because they think we're a bunch of Mexicans that hit our wives, which couldn't be further from the truth. But that is how they see us. I will say it. I would never dare use that word, but you know what? Yes, there are the leaders in there that we think that all of us are backward leaders.
I know that was a little bit difficult to understand. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. But that's a young Hispanic Mexican dude who's a leader. And honestly, I probably we should have done a little bit more research, but I don't know where he's from. But he shows the true Democrat. You show me a Democrat, I'll show you a racist, folks. And in case you've allowed the establishment to think for you, I'll explain racism to you. See, leftists allow blatant racism to occur, and they pass it off as something else. So the obvious racism of Black Lives Matter terrorists who are called social justice warriors. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Now, do you need another example? Look at these black multimillionaire snowflake NFL players who took a knee for black oppression. And in case you missed the irony, pampered black multimillionaires complain of the black condition. I'll sign up for that complaint all day long and twice on Sunday. Pardon the football pun. Their complaint is that 6% of America, black men who commit 53% of the murders, are being killed by police. I know it's a shock to believe, folks, that law enforcement would dare target the lawbreakers. But let's move on, shall we? The Clintons are racist. Known for using the N-word, I have friends who are Secret Service that work for the Clintons, two of whom both confirm Hillary Clinton drops the N-word like F-bombs, like chiclets in Mexico. She's got disdain towards blacks. She considers black people useful idiots, and she treats them like that publicly. I don't feel no ways tired. I've come too far. Moreover, both Hillary and Bill Clinton eulogized the Klansmen, and if that isn't enough, you've heard me talk about it, Clinton, Hillary that is, called a vile anti-Negro Margaret I Love the Klan singer her idol. Now, can you imagine if Trump eulogized the Klansmen, then idolized a supporter of the Klan, a woman who called Negroes human weeds? What would we be talking about? So why would I be surprised to learn that a Democrat used the N-word to describe black people? That's like learning rattlesnakes bite. I repeat, Democrats are racist. They put up a good front, but behind closed doors, folks, Democrats reveal themselves regularly. And sadly, they don't even have to be behind closed doors. Here's how BizPac Review described this hot mic moment. A Texas Democrat is in apology mode after being caught on tape using racial slurs in a rant against two African American prosecutors. These weren't protesters. I stand corrected. They were prosecutors. It says Brownsville City Commissioner Cesar De Leon was nailed in a series of recordings released by citizen journalist Erasmo Castro complaining about the hiring of two black prosecutors in the border town of Brownsville. There are a couple of I'm going to take it out. I have to clean it up. There are a couple of F and N's that Luis Saenz is getting, and I don't know where he's getting them from. They're coming down from my effing city, and now they're trying to effing put everybody in jail because they think we're a bunch of Mexicans that hit our wives, which couldn't be further from the effing truth. But that's how they see us. They are Fs. And I would say this, that I would never dare use that word, but yes, there are a couple of N words in there that think that all of us are effing taco eaters. That's what you heard on that audio clip we played earlier. Now, have you heard the fake news media report on this? This kumbaya between the Mexicans and the blacks because they dare hire two blacks down there to kind of get things straight. I don't know why they hired two black prosecutors. Prosecutors tend to be more conservative in thought. Prosecutors tend to be people that say, look, I'm here to look objectively at the law, and if you need to be prosecuted, I'm coming down on you. So let me tell you what's happening. The Mexicans don't like it that black folks are coming down and laying down the law. See, the way the left let people rule each other, they say, you are ruled by people that look like you and talk like you, etc. So these Mexicanos are upset that a couple of black people are coming in going, now look, Mexicans, stop beating your wives. Hey, man, we can beat her. We can tell ourselves if you cannot beat your wife, man, but you cannot come tell us the same thing, okay? Just like you can use the N-word and So that's what this beef is about. I don't know who these black prosecutors are. I don't know who hired them. All I know is if you are in Sheila Jackson Lee's district in Houston, Texas, and you bring in two Mexican prosecutors, you'll get the same reaction. Black folks will be like, who gonna bring in these? And they'll use some derogatory word for Mexicans. Who gonna bring in these people coming here telling us what to do like we a bunch of, effing N-words that beat our wives? Can you imagine that conversation happening? Where's the NAACP protesting and demanding the removal of this guy that made this comment? The removal of Cesar de Leon. And what of the battle of the races that pits blacks against Latinos that De Leon seems to discuss? He apologized. For those of you wondering, he did. I want to apologize to the citizens of Brownsville or whoever had to listen to those tapes because there's a lot of profane language and that was a private conversation. It was never meant to be public, but it's very important that people understand that I'm very apologetic. That's what he said. I'm not lying. I want to apologize for those who had to listen to the tapes because of the profane language and that it was a private conversation. Don't expect the left to correct itself over this, folks. That's how blacks and Latinos on the left feel about each other in private. They pretend to get along in public, but they are not friends. Their only agenda is to topple what they believe to be is the establishment. To topple white folks. And anybody that supports white folks. I support white people. You want to know why? Because y'all are civilized. I can go to your countries and feel safe. We'll be back.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. There is a USC professor who's under arrest. Welcome to the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. Yep, he's under arrest, and for reasons that I say he, it's a she. She's under arrest, and I'm not even surprised by this. You've heard of this disorder called Munchausen by proxy, where people, and I don't know if it's typically women, but it seems like every time I've seen it, it's been women. But women, for example, would have Munchausen by proxy. They kill their babies, and because it gets some sympathy, and because people are like, you know, like you have a baby, and then the baby's crying, all that, and everybody's sympathizing with the baby, and you go, no, I don't want you sympathizing with the baby, so you kill the baby, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, she lost her baby, and so they're like all upset, and so she, you know, soaking it in, they're like, oh my gosh, anything we can do for you? Because in that tragedy, people, the goodness of people come out. So it's like you're training. This woman gets a crazy idea that the more I kill, the more people love it. So I saw this one story, no lie. This lady killed, I want to say 6 or 8 kids. It was a crazy number. And it got to the point, like after the 4th one, they thought, wow, she's just the most unlucky mother, because they thought it was SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. No, this crazy lunatic was killing her own childrens. Killing them. And it was like one of the biggest cases. And I think it was one of the cases where they called, you know, they finally said, okay, she's got Munchausen's by proxy. And I guess Munchausen's is when you seek adoration and you do things to yourself, like you're always sick or you're ill or you fake like you've got cancer. By proxy means you do it through somebody else, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about that, you know, correct us. Send us a note to KJRadio.com or call the show, 844-551-8255. But I saw this story and went, a mother killing her own children to garner sympathy. Who does this? People do it. And then it made me think about it in terms of, well, what do we see? We look at Hillary Clinton, who says, I took shrapnel fire when I was landing the jet in Bosnia, and they're going, no, you didn't. Sinbad's like, she didn't take those. What? I was on the same plane. She didn't take no shrapnel fire. What you talking about? If they shot at her, they shot the rest of us. We were all drinking and having a good time, telling jokes. Sinbad was like, that didn't happen. Hillary, well, I don't know what his recollection was. Well, we have video here, Hillary. And so they show Hillary and Chelsea getting off the plane, going down the line, shaking hands of troops and meeting with little kids, and no gunfire, nobody panicked to hit the ground. And so they go, well, what about this? Well, what you're seeing there, that was sort of after the thing, you know, they had gotten their rebels under control. It was so funny. It was so funny to watch her as they're showing her. They're showing her, you're lying. You are blatantly lying through your teeth, woman. And she's like, well, you know, it's a misunderstanding because what you weren't there. Then that's when people get indignant. Yeah, what you talking about? I mean, what you trying to get all up in? Were you there? You were not there. Were you not? No, you were not there. And therefore, if you were not there, how could you possibly know what has happened? Well, we do have the video of the people. Yeah, but still, what about you? And I see these insane arguments that are done by the left once they're found out. What about Brian Williams? Brian Williams bringing you the news. Yes, we were on that plane and had to divert around because they were taking fire. We were taking fire. We were lucky to land that bird, you know, blah, blah, blah. And this guy is literally creating a fiction, lie on top of lie on top of lie. Why? Because it wasn't enough that he's making a fat paycheck. It wasn't enough that he's seen every single night and people looked at him as, you know, a believable guy. He's got that believable guy face, doesn't he? He ruined it for everybody. All the believable guy faces, people that were vending those went, man, shoot. We got to send back the inventory. All these journalists, they were kind of patterning themselves after Brian Williams. Because Brian Williams patterned himself after Peter Jennings and not Brit Hume, and others, but people like that. That style that we got used to, going back to the days of Cronkite. And so Brian Williams appeared to be that guy. Believable. Then they start looking at all his lies. And that reminds me of the dude who was writing a story for some leftist magazine, and he's making up stories. Making them up. To the point that he got so good at it, they weren't even checking his sources. Does that sound like anything CNN? I'm just checking. They didn't even check his sources. New York Times. He's writing for a major publication. And they're just going, hey, if he said it, it must be good. Then they go back and look and they find out that the majority of his work is made up. Narratives that they want. That's the left. You make up the narrative that we want and we'll let you slide. You can get away with it. Example, folks, after example of lying, lecherous, fake news building, fake narrative promoting leftists who don't care what the consequences are. And see, this is the thing. I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. I don't know how you feel. It's like in my business. I run this business. I tell people, they're like, well, Kevin, this is looking really good here. I go, look, this report doesn't have to rain sunshine. You need to tell me what are our dangers, what are our pitfalls. We call them SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths, I probably already know. Weaknesses, I want to know. Opportunities, for sure. Threats, yes. So, when you do an analysis of these things, you'd be crazy not to want to know the truth. But anyway, leftists, they don't. They want to hide it. And worse than that, they want to build themselves up. Brian Williams couldn't help but to become bigger than the story. Hillary Clinton wants to be bigger than the president. She got her butt kicked, and she won't go away because we haven't put her butt in prison. But she wants to feel that she's bigger than the president. And she was willing to tell you lies on top of lies to make it happen. It took an act of God to keep her from being president. Hillary Clinton told you that she deleted emails because they had yoga and some personal things between her and her husband, who, by the way, says he doesn't use email, and she was doing Chelsea's wedding. That's it. That's why I didn't want you to know that I was hiding a server in my bathroom basement and not using the State Department server. Deleted 33,000 emails. But here's what it is. And then when she finally gets caught, she doesn't admit it. She just says, well, I probably didn't use the right judgment in doing that. She can't tell you the truth. It is an impossibility for her to truly tell you what's on her mind, because she knows that if you knew she thought like you, where she says, I believe that black folks are committing too much crime and getting away with it. I believe that the racism in this country is coming from Democrats. I believe that we should close our borders and respect our laws. I believe that we should not be letting refugees in. She will never admit to you what she really believes. Anyway, what I want to tell you about is this professor. False shooter claims. University of Southern California professor told students there was a shooting on campus on Monday, prompting frantic students to call 911 before she got arrested. They won't identify the professor. They say she was going through some sort of episode shortly after noon when she urged students to take cover because of an active shooter. Now, here's what the gist of this story. There's a crazy professor at the University of Southern California who's alerting students that there's a shooter when there isn't one, in a time when these kids are probably pretty geared up over the Las Vegas. But the school doesn't want to tell you who it is because it could ruin the professor's reputation. Yeah. It doesn't matter that your kids are scared crapless or that the next active shooter thing they may disregard. No, they want to protect the professor. Just like the left protected Hillary Clinton, how NBC protected Brian Williams, and I could go on. They protect their liars and their scandalous scallywags at your expense. This woman's crazy and needs to be removed.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.